So this week we're looking at the sila of right livelihood. It follows suit that we take our speech and action on the road, as they say, into the marketplace of our lives. Us, off the cushion, doing our thing, doing us, walking around, doing the business of our day, the labors of our day that keep us and our beloveds safe and as healthy as possible, clothed and sheltered, free from danger, and happy enough. This is the sila practice of right livelihood. It's not just what you do, though, let me pause for a moment and let's look at that for a moment, the logical implications of that line of thinking. Limiting ourselves to just what we do. Well, what happens when we retire? Or what about those who haven't yet reached working age? Do those years not count? Oh my. Well, let's be careful and think things through, right? Let's not take words for face value or too literally. Please try to remember that language changes. It's alive. It changes generationally. It changes culturally, and with it, what it is communicating. For example, the word they means something very different in 2021 than it did in, say, 1990. We have to translate, interpret, cross-reference our work, lest we think that in retirement, our speech and actions don't count. Oh, the sila of right livelihood is not just about what we do, but about how we do the labors of our day, whatever the labors of our day are. And all of us labor through the day. How are we doing the ordinary, everyday business of our lives, interpersonally? The interactional, transactional, relational lives as human beings on planet Earth. Do your best to be kind. Let's get down to earth. Let's get practical. Let's get real. Let's get to the nitty-gritty, day-to-day mundane, the mundane chop wood, carry water of our modern times that keeps the roof over our head, clothes on our back, milk in the fridge, the mundane of going to the market to get a loaf of bread, of driving here and there for necessities or not, and having all manner of interactions with strangers, with customer service folks, with telemarketers, with family, friends, and coworkers. No judgment, but how are you pulling it up? Right there, how are you pulling it up? How are you doing right now in that moment? I love that expression that Dawn shared with us yesterday, right? From the Black Lives Matter, Alicia Garza said, right? She posted the day after the election in 2016. She said, how you pulling up? I mean, it's a great line. I will definitely use it. I think about that. I thought about that all day yesterday. How am I pulling up? So what are you doing and how are you doing it? What's the intention? Check in right now. Not 10 years ago, not when you worked at XYZ in the break room or at the water cooler. That was then, and this is now. Doesn't it count right now, this moment? Folks, right now, at this present moment, to the degree to which you are listening and tuning into these words, we are marinating in goodwill. Drink it in. Notice that. But also notice the rest of the day. How are you navigating the sea of small decisions that make up your day? Most of the time, we're navigating in a sea of gray, muddy waters of skillful and unskillful. We're in training. Remember that. Easy does it. Meet yourself where you are and set up your practice there. Notice when you're grunting yes and no in almost indistinguishably to your partner's questions. Notice when the flash of irritation at the computer-generated voice that prompts you through the bureaucratic maze of answers annoys you. Notice the effect of watching live violence or fake, imaginary violence we call entertainment. Feel the effect of the choices in the present. We make all kinds of decisions each day. We decide when and how to spend our time, our money, our resources. Where does our money go? To groceries, medication, to a child's college, to a much-needed car, to making rent? These decisions express our agency and may or may not reflect our values. Sila is asking us to reflect on how we are making our decisions and how we are making our way through the world. Sila is a guide for making long and short-term decisions based on empathy, based on goodwill, based on non-harm. 4 years ago, we gave up our car. It was an environmental and economical decision. It took years to make that decision, by the way. But we downsized deliberately. We discussed, got comfortable with how we'd get around, and then let go. A few years ago, we switched our electricity to solar. And though it costs a bit more, given that we can afford it, our wish was to offer back into the world a lighter carbon footprint. This was the expenditure that made good sense to us. This was in keeping with our values. This is right livelihood in my book. This is living my sila practice. But we also couldn't have done that any sooner than we did a few years ago. Living my sila life in my 20s, for example, meant making ends meet, putting myself through school. I was my charity until I wasn't. Then I could offer out. So meet yourself where you are and do what you can. All along the way, appreciate your efforts to move in the direction of non-harm and kindness and peace and harmony, alone and together. This is our way that we can offer into the world. So when you get off the cushion today, know that any time of day you can pause, you can stop, come in for a landing, and get a feel for how it is in there. Readjust the view and clarify the intention to not cause harm in here or out there, or as little as possible. Think of the decisions. If we have an infestation of ants, talk to yourself. Talk to the ants. Acknowledge the need to cause harm for the greater good. How are you showing up and doing the business? Check in. Breathe with the truth of the moment and adjust the view accordingly to the frequency of carrying attention. That's all. How you doing? What are you doing? What's the attitude? What's the intention? Boom! These few questions, and we know what's up. In some ways, it's just that simple. What are you doing and how are you doing it? Are you tired, mad, sad, glad, frightened, pissed off, fed up? Are you relieved? Did you catch yourself mid-sentence before you shot the dart of sarcasm at your partner? Boom! Take a breath. Take a breath. You caught yourself. Good job. Now, breathe. Smooth that out in there. How are you doing? How are you showing up? Take another breath. Oh my gosh. Are you all fired up? Maybe you're all fired up and cranky because you've been standing in line for an hour at the DMV to get your driver's license renewed. Boom. Okay, breathe with that. Take a moment, pause right there. The feelings aren't going to go away, but you're not going to get any faster in the queue by being cranky either. So let's just breathe with where we are and smooth it out in there. That's a kindness. That's sila practice. You see, without getting heavy-handed, without a lot of fuss, we have at our disposal a lot of opportunities to make little course corrections over the course of the day. Now that is realistically optimistic in my book. It suggests that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be good. I don't have to walk 100 miles repenting, a la Mary Oliver. I only have to pause as many times as I can remember. Pause, stop, look, listen, feel. How am I doing in there? What's the attitude like? What am I going for? How am I pulling up? Check it out. None of this is unfamiliar to us. If we didn't get this in our childhood faith, then we've gotten it over the course of our life. And if we didn't get it over the course of our life, you've certainly gotten it over the course of these past few months with us. How you doing in there? Right? Me? Let's pause right now. Me and you. How am I doing right now? Well, right in this moment, I'm sitting here breathing with you, speaking. Right in this moment, I'm teaching. This is Susan chopping wood and carrying water. Nothing heavy-handed. Smoothing it out in there, calming the voice down, calming the energies down, just checking in and seeing in real time how's it going. This is sila practice, on the spot. So, we can do this. And then, Alicia Garza says, the next line right after, how you pulling up? The breath is still moving. Sun came up today. Another day is here. All right, here we are. Let's go into the marketplace alone together today to purchase bread, to go and get things done, to be, to have, and try to remember, try to hold on to that view of non-harm. Try to adjust to a view, to a frequency of non-harm. Let's try to not judge all the times that we do judge. And let's try to see that every time we don't judge, that's an act of kindness. That's an act of turning the heart towards sila. Right there. We can do this. It's for our welfare. All right. Thank you.